All right, engineers, we have a video for you that should help you with assembling your puzzle cube. So if you need, please put on the closed captions or put in some headphones. Switch the language if it's beneficial to you. But you should have all 5 of your puzzle cubes like you see here. And you should have your radio button activated at the assembly level up on the top. So a left click and drag, you should be able to see all 5 of your cubes moving around in your environment freely. If I pressed shift and I hold my middle mouse button, I should be able to rotate my environment just like this. When I'm looking at my print, my solution, I'm going to pick one of my cubes as like a foundation or a base that I'm going to build everything off of. And for me, I'm going to pick the blue one. So this blue one is almost like my grounded part, the one that I want to start and attach everything to. So I'm going to look at it, and it's positioned in space like I see it right now. But if I look at Fusion, this one is not positioned in space like I saw right here. So I'm going to rotate my world by holding the shift key, and I'm going to spin my world so that I am looking at, and I'm going to move everything else out of the way so I don't get confused. But I'm going to rotate my camera so that I see the same angle of my blue piece in my drawing as I do here in Fusion. So now everything is kind of the same angle. And you can see that right there. However, this is still able to kind of move around and float, and that's not good. So I'm going to go over to my blue and my browser, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to ground it. Anytime you see this window come up that says capture or revert, you will always click on capture. And now, since I've grounded it, you'll see a little thumbtack on the blue part. You'll also notice that I can't move it anymore. The other ones I can move. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick which part I'd like to assemble first. I can pick green, I can pick pink, yellow, orange, it doesn't matter. But I think what I'll do first is I'm going to pick green. It just seems to be looking at me first. So I'm going to pick green, and I'm going to bring it on over. And you'll kind of notice that if I zoom in, the green one kind of sticks in the middle here. And if you're not sure, you can always go back to the original print and you kind of see where it sneaks in the middle. This exploded view will show you where it fits. So in order to get it to stay locked into where it needs to be, I'm going to move the other ones out of the way so I don't get confused. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go up to the Assemble menu and I'm going to click on Joint. You'll notice that my grounded part has now just turned into a ghost. My joint window appears, and if I go to Motion, there's 2 windows. The type of joint and then how I select the joint. So the type of joint is going to be a rigid because I don't want it to move. So make sure it's set to rigid. For my position, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 2 different faces. So you're going to have to use your mouse, middle button, and shift, and you're going to have to rotate underneath, and you're going to have to hover your mouse over a face, and I have not clicked yet. But here's the face. All right. This face is going to eventually, listen carefully, it's going to eventually touch this face. So before I click, I also want to make sure that when I click, that I pick a point on this face. So you'll notice that it's giving me the option of a bunch of different points. So for me, I'm going to make sure that when I click, I pick the middle of this face. Click. Now I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to rotate, And now I'm going to go over to where I want to place it. And notice how it's giving me the option as I hover my mouse for a lot of different faces. But this is the face that the other face should be essentially kissing. Think of two faces kissing each other. This is the other face that that other one was supposed to kiss. This point and that other point are the two that should be locking together. If I were to pick that point, they wouldn't line up. But this point, it will. So I'm going to click here. And now you'll see that they line up. I'm going to click OK. It doesn't move. If I left click and I grab it, it doesn't move. This little symbol here, if I click it, it highlights, but that's your rigid connection. So I'm going to zoom out. If that didn't work or it went to the wrong place, click undo and try that again. Let's try another one. I'm going to try yellow. I'm going to bring yellow. Where's yellow? It's like my yellow is a little more orange looking, but that's okay. So yellow kind of like does this. Sits right up and over. You can notice because I'm looking at a two-dimensional screen, it's hard to tell how deep something is, but that's okay. So for this one, I am going to be creating a rigid joint between this surface and this surface. Let me show you again. This surface and this surface, the one I have highlighted. So to do that, I'm going to click on Joint. Notice how my grounded part disappears. So I'm going to have to hold Shift and press my middle mouse button. And I'm going to highlight the surface and then make sure I'm picking that middle grip point because that's a good one to grab it by. Click. And then I'm going to roll out on my mouse, my middle mouse button, and then I'm going to press Shift, and then I'm going to press the rolling mouse button again, and I'm going to spin it. And then I'm going to not only hover over this surface, but I'm going to make sure the middle button selects, and I'm going to click. Now, before I hit OK, like in the future, if you wanted to rotate or move it off of that point that you clicked, you could do that. But I don't. This is exactly where I want it. So I'm going to click OK. So it does not move. Let's go back to our drawing and let's look at the next one. So we have this little orange piece, which kind of fits in the back side. If you look at the assembly, you'll see it kind of fits in the back just like that. So I'm going to grab it. Now you might look at this orange one and be like, oh, it's not even in the right direction for it to fit there. So it needs to be flipped up and it needs to be placed at the same time. But you can accomplish that by using the constraints. Let me show you. So for this one, I'm going to create a joint. Now for this guy, you'll notice that it's this surface here. And that point that needs to be stuck to that surface. And then you're going to look at that and say, that's wrong. But if I rotate it this way, just like that, that did not work. Okay, so here's another solution that you can do. You can highlight a part and you can go to Modify. You can move it. And you're going to get all of these different rotation arrows. So if you're having trouble like I am, what you can do is you can kind of rotate that object. Let me do that one more time. Pick the object, right-click on it from the browser, and go to Move Copy, and then just drag it like that. There we go. And this is just going to help you to kind of spin it around so it's close to the orientation that you need it in your model. Now this again is not creating a joint. All it's doing is it's getting it kind of orientated in the right spot. There we go. Now let's try it. Assemble, joint, that surface, that point, spin it around, that surface, that point. Perfect. All right, now our last piece should, if everything's right, fit right into there. I'm going to do that same method. Before I create the joint, I'm going to right-click on pink, and I am going to move copy. And I'm going to rotate that just to get it in the direction I need it, kinda, before I create a joint. And I pick that surface. So you'll notice what I just did. I picked that surface and that point, but there isn't. Oh, there is a surface. There we go. That point. I was able to find a surface and a point that matched. Okay, there you go. Again, any mistakes, click undo. But when you're done, you should have all parts or components locked so that they don't move. Click save. And then you're going to submit your public link. In order to submit a public link to the assignment, as long as it's saved, what you're going to do is you're going to go up to the file. You're going to click on share link. And then you're going to turn on this little checkbox right there. Once you do that, this web address is going to appear and you're going to copy it. And then you are going to paste that into an assignment into Schoology, the Schoology assignment, and you're going to upload that link. That gives me the ability to see your assembled cube and your finished progress. That is it. Thank you for watching and good luck. Make sure you help each other because that's the best way you're going to learn is by helping each other out. All right. Thanks for watching.